Let's bring in attorney Bruce Fein for more on the circuit court's decision. A lot to cover here, Bruce, but first your thoughts on what came down and where do they go from here?
Well, number one, it's quite remarkable that you had a unanimous decision. These are judges appointed by President Carter, President Bush, President Clinton. And I think one of the reasons why it's unanimous is given the rather belligerent statements made by President Trump. They were worried that he might defy a court decree if there were any dissent. And that also occurred, in my experience, during Watergate, where President Nixon gave indications that he might defy a court order. Secondly, it's quite robust in their decision, stating that the judges would review a president's assertion of national security. It wasn't a blank check to do whatever he wanted. And I think what really hurt President Trump greatly at the oral argument was when his own attorney said, well, we didn't really even look to see whether any nationals from these countries had ever created a threat and committed a terrorist act or an act of violence until after the orders were issued, and they were still looking for it. You know, they said we're on a fast track. Well, you're supposed to look for it before you issue the order, not after it. And I think the court felt that they were given, they were basically told that they were just supposed to salute when the president said, you know, fire 21 gun salute to me. And that's not how our system works. The courts are appointed for life. They can't be removed, generally speaking, unless they commit some horrendous crime or something of that sort. And their purpose is to check, you know, aggressive executive or even legislative action. And it was a repetition of what happened during Watergate.
So, Bruce, let's say this goes to the Supreme Court, as everyone is thinking it could. If it does, what happens there? And Sean mentioned 4-4 for more liberal-leaning judges, for more conservative-leaning judges, but we can't assume that it would go that way, right? I mean, no. That they would.
Well, this is what we know. The rules. If the court divided 4-4, it would sustain what the Ninth Circuit did. And indeed, when President Obama issued a similar executive order to stay the deportation of adults of undocumented children, it went up to a court of appeals. He lost there. It went to the Supreme Court. They divided 4-4, and so his order was never executed. But my view is that given the belligerence of Mr. Trump, that if he takes this case to the Supreme Court, he will lose 8-0. Moreover, what I believe would happen, because it will take a while to get to the Supreme Court, that in the interim, we're going to have all these immigrants and refugees, and nothing's happening. So the court's going to be saying, well, what did he find that was dangerous about these people? Each day that elapses, the credibility of the president is undermined more and more.
What's the timeline then to the Supreme Court? How months?
Well, ordinarily, you know, they could ask for expedited review, but after the ordinary rule is after a court of appeals, then you have 30 days, or actually 90 days, to file a petition for certiorari, if you will. I think they'll try to file a little bit earlier, but their dilemma is we're filing, we still don't have any evidence that any national of these countries is doing anything wrong.
Bruce, we have just about a minute left. I want to get your reaction to the president's reaction to this ruling tonight. He tweeted within moments, of course, saying in all caps, if we can bring that tweet up, of his reaction. Just what did you make of that and the way he's been reacting to the judicial system in general?
Well, it's rather flip. Well, see you in court. Like he really didn't think that the Court of Appeals decision really meant a whole lot. And again, a rather attitude of arrogance. And I doubt whether he actually ever read the opinion. It's just his impulse to fight back against anybody who opposes whatever he wants to do. And I think this could be a far more dangerous to his credibility than just this particular case. Because remember, he's basically put his credibility on the line. Oh, all these terrible things are going to happen. You know, like Chicken Little, the skies. And if nothing happens, the next time he says it, no one will believe him. So it will set the stage for him to lose across the board on a whole host of security issues. Sending people to Guantanamo Bay, really, does the 2001 AUMF cover ISIS, you know, and he's claiming his national security. So his own presidency in the field of national security is riding on this. And I think he'd be a fool to seek U.S. Supreme Court review. If he had any brains, he'd go back and redo the executive order. He'd go to the agencies, say, I want the experts to come back and explain what are the countries that really create a danger. For example, Saudi Arabia, which is not on the list, Egypt, which is not on the list, Pakistan is on the list, and do it right. But I don't believe he's capable of that. He's so much caught up in this idea of his identity and toughness that he'll just plow on.
All right, Bruce Fein, we'll leave it there. Thank you so much for your insight. Appreciate it.